Hey guys, welcome back to Wood Street Farm. I'm Phil, and today I'm going to give you an update on some of our flower growing activities and some of the U-pick business that we've been working on here for the last couple years. It's the beginning of June now. It's been almost a month since I gave you an update of what was going on, and a little over a month ago I planted this flower patch right here. These are black oil sunflowers. This was some leftover seed that we had from last year, and I put this down with the garden seeder. We measured this out as about 8,000 square feet of sunflowers, and after those first sunflowers came up, I guess after about 10 days or so, I did put in a few rows this way, and I'm just hoping that kind of extends the bloom time, or at least the time that this patch looks like it's in full bloom. We are not planning on having this patch for U-pick. We're planning on having this patch just for photography, and because this patch was planted in a section of our Christmas tree field where we had several annual plantings of trees die in this spot. So we're just going to try to work the soil for a little bit, get a couple crops through here and till all that into the soil and try to improve things from a fertility standpoint, and then we'll try to put trees back in here. And you can see in here, these flowers are just approaching about 2 feet tall, maybe 2.5 feet tall, and they've really popped up in this last week here with all the heat that we had. And we just got some rain, so if next week gets hot again, these things should really take off. But I noticed something over this way. Let me show you. So I was just standing down there a minute ago. All these flowers through here are 2.5 feet tall, and once we get over here, look at all this bare ground. And these flowers are considerably shorter. So there's definitely a section of soil here that is not producing as well for these flowers. And I spread fertilizer over this entire plot. But this particular soil where these flowers are, and some of these are only 3-4 inches tall and not doing nearly as well as everything over there. So that tells me this is a section that needs a lot more compost, a lot more organic matter, a lot more fertilizer in general, because that if those flowers in that section are already doing so poorly, I bet they'll go to bloom with really thin stalks and really short stalks if I don't do anything. So I will go ahead and add some stuff to that now, just because I know it's going to need it. Probably just some fertilizer. And then after we mow all this down, that will be a section that I'll pay some extra attention to and try to get some more organic matter down there. So each of the last couple years, we have opened up for pick your own wildflowers in the springtime. And we've invited people to come out and just pick from the flowers that are growing naturally all around the property. We found at least, I don't know, 8 or 10, maybe even 12 different varieties of wildflowers around. And some people have really enjoyed coming out here, wandering the property and seeing what they can find and assembling their own bouquet. Unfortunately though, we opened up last weekend and it was the worst performing weekend we have ever had in our now 3-year history of doing the pick your own wildflowers, and that was pretty disappointing. I think maybe now that kind of the COVID craziness is behind us and everything's kind of restored to normal operation, I think people are out doing other stuff and they're not looking for kind of safe activities where they can get away from others and coming out and doing this kind of thing at our farm. I think that might be part of it. I don't know if gas prices are also driving it. We are about a 35-40 minute drive away from the major population center to our east, so maybe there's other things that people are doing closer to home. I don't know. But anyway, if this continues to this upcoming weekend when we're planning on opening again, we might not do this pick your own spring wildflower event anymore, which you know, isn't a big deal. I'd kind of rather focus on making a bigger attraction out of our flower patch or our flower patches, like that sunflower patch over there. But you know, that stuff all takes time to grow, so we won't really have anything ready for springtime. But if we can, you know, double or triple the revenue from the summer and early fall flowers, then it should all be worth it. So now I'm standing in what was last year's flower patch. This half that is now covered in grass was where the zinnias and cosmos were. That half that is now all tilled up is where our sunflowers were. So last year we let the zinnias and cosmos go to seed. In the fall we mowed it down, then we sprinkled clover and annual ryegrass seed, and you can see the annual rye has come in thick. This has actually already been mowed once this year and it's already knee-high again, and I can see that there is clover all throughout here, which is great. Building soil is what we're trying to accomplish over here. I was hoping by letting this all go to seed last year, we would see zinnias and cosmos reseed themselves and come back up, and this would just look like kind of a wildflower meadow. I don't know if that's going to happen. I've been walking through here about once a week or so, looking for zinnias popping up, looking for cosmos popping up, and I'm seeing very little activity yet, but it's still early in the season, and I know those are more warm season flowers, so we'll just have to kind of wait and see what happens, and I'll keep you guys posted. Hopefully this does something and it looks pretty by, you know, mid-August or so, but if not, this will all just get tilled in again, and then eventually this will be Christmas tree planting field for us. So if this soil is improved in the next year or two, that would be good for that. But in the meantime, that's what's going on here. On this section where last year sunflowers were, we're going to plant sunflowers here again, and we're going to do a couple different kinds, and this will be kind of a little bit of a bonus patch because our main flower patch is actually still across the property. At the end of last season, I did a whole video on some of the changes that we're making and why we're making them, but the biggest change is we're putting our primary patch across the pond closer to the entrance so that it's less walking for our customers. In the hot Virginia heat in August and September, some people will really struggle to make it all the way across our property to where this patch is. So that's why we're going to put the main patch over there. And this is the area for our main 2022 flower patch. We're up here near the front of our property now. Our shed is just there through the trees. Our camper's right there, and our entrance is just up that way. So this is a very accessible part of our property. And we had a cover crop on this patch last fall and over the winter. This spring we tilled it up and we put down some buckwheat. And just last week I mowed all that down, tilled it again, and this is what we have. But I am noticing there are a lot of rocks in here that the other sections of property that we've tilled up and we've planted things on before, I've never seen so many rocks. So we're probably going to spend a little bit of time driving across this with the tractor and the four-wheeler and picking up at least the biggest rocks by hand so that we're not dealing with those in the future. And I'm sure more rocks will surface here again in the future, and that's just something that we're going to have to deal with here. But this section has not been worked, as far as I can tell, in a long time. So this is going to need a lot more fertilizer than some of the other areas. We've had this plot tested and we know that it is deficient in pretty much everything, so we are going to continue to work this, but it is almost time for us to start planting, and I'm going to be trying some new things this year that I haven't done before, including the plastic ground cover. So you'll want to stay tuned for future videos to see how we manage through some of that stuff, but I just wanted to share this video with you guys to kind of share with you what we're doing here this spring, what isn't working with the wildflower events that we're trying to do, and hopefully some of this other stuff that we're going to do is going to work well, and we can have an exceptional year with pick your own flowers between this patch and the other two patches that I shared with you across the pond. So that's going to wrap it up for me today, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.